Welcome to Two Gents, where two seasoned gents take on the hard truths of life, success, and responsibility. In a world where the rules don't bend for us, these gents believe in doing the work, owning the struggle, and inspiring others to take action. So, pull up a chair.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I'm glad that you're on the show today. It's a little bit different show than what I anticipated, but I'm here and we still live, and I still haven't got all my lights up yet. And if you notice my voice, I'm a little bit under the weather again, but we're going to continue to move. We're going to continue to groove. We're going to continue to do our thing, and that's what it's about. Today I'm going to take it a little bit different, because I'm going to have to build this show in order for you to understand what it's worth. And by building it, I mean I'm going to have to build it to a point where you can relate to what I'm saying. You know, too many times we look at what's happening in the news and we flip the channel and we turn the channel and we move about our everyday business, and we don't look back at what the story that they're actually telling us. It's a story out there that relates to you in many different ways that you don't know about. And sometimes you don't even have to look outside your house to get that story. Now, I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. The name of the show today is Richer for Poor. Who gets drafted first? And I can show you some images right now that you would say, you know what? You're absolutely right. But I'm going to build this story up to let you understand where I'm going with this. And when I first got into it, the first thing I said was, you know what? I don't think people pay attention to the news no more. When it was directly in front of you, you had to pay attention to it because it affected you. But somewhere along the lines of where we're at now and where we were then, somewhere along the lines when we got all this technology and we rolled it up into one big bundle, we can turn off what we don't want to see. We can turn off the images that we don't want to see. We can turn off whatever is in front of us that we don't want to participate in. We can get mad and frustrated and have a certain feeling about what we see in front of us. We can get mad or frustrated about a picture or an image that somebody's put out there of us that we didn't even ask them to. But instead of us confronting that person there, you know what we'll do? We'll go right out there and make this a social media fight. Don't matter if it's family, parents. We don't ask what intentions. Hey, what intentions did you put that out there with? And then when we got everybody else's emotion involved in it after it's been said and done, guess what? There's nothing that you can do about it. Because now you got people that's running with emotions, and you know if it's a family member or somebody that's within your organization that you're going to have to run into again, you know it's going to explode. We need to stop doing that. We need to stop doing that. I'll try to get back to my subject matter here because I can run that way. You know, like I say, this thing that's going on, this war, this conflict, anywhere that there's a conflict around the world, and you see USA involved in it, as it graduates, as it grows, as it gets bigger, and maybe you start seeing those images of those soldiers coming home in boxes, and people stop volunteering to go over there, or people stop responding the way that they're supposed to. Eventually, they got this thing that sits at the back of all of this stuff that we're looking at right now. Eventually, they got this thing that they can incorporate that nobody has a say-so in. They can bring up the draft again. And some of y'all too young to remember what a draft was like. But in my generation, My father was drafted into the military. His brother was drafted into the military and was doing one of these same conflicts that the United States, same thing, different country, different conflict. Every war, there has been somebody drafted into the military involuntarily. Some people got drafted and they was able to get out of it. Some people had the funds or the means in which to get out of it. Their parents had the funds or the means, or they was in a position where their kids didn't have to suffer the same consequences of somebody that didn't have the means to get out of it. And you think that what you look at today that you shouldn't pay attention to? You think that the person that's in office that you shouldn't pay attention to? Next time when you get around your kids and they're around the age of 17 to 18, and they're required to register for a draft, I want you to think about how involved that is. Because I think that we got desensitized on what it feels like to be a part of what they call a society. My telephone's gonna go off in the background. I have stuff that others life issues that I have to look into sometimes. So just bear with me. I don't have a source, a group of people behind me that's doing all of this. I'm doing this on my own. So as you continue to look at this thing and you continue to probably say, what is he talking about? For richer, for poor. If you didn't got married in life, you didn't heard those words before. And that's basically what they're telling you, for richer or poor. You know, when it comes time for a draft, it's for the richer or poor. Poor people suffer more through the process than richer people. Your own president, for example, he got out because he had bone spurs or whatever in his foot. Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest, said that he wasn't going to war because of that. But you know what his consequences was? He went to jail. He didn't go to jail in D.C. He got drafted and he was supposed to report in right here in Houston, Texas. And when he came here to report in, he told him he wasn't going. And to tie that back to something else, and I'm just using this to build my story. Because even if you look at Elvis went in. But do you think that they would, and I'm going to say this because you need to understand the perspective in which I'm going. Oh, man. I got a comment that I want to bring up, and I need to shift gears because I normally miss these comments. And I just seen, I'm going to bring your comment to the stage, but I got to get in a position where, because I've been missing the comments, and I know a lot of people have been getting mad at me. But I got some comments I'm going to bring up in just a minute. But even Elvis, if you compare him to Muhammad Ali going into service, where do you think they was going to send Muhammad Ali? He wasn't going to get one of those cushy jobs. Let me tell you what Elvis did when he went into service. And I didn't know this till my first child was born in the service. And I didn't even know it was a place called Lindsay Air Station in Germany. Lindsay Air Station is a barracks, like a barracks in the middle of the city of Wiesbaden. And Elvis was stationed there. If you ever go to that post, it's called Lindsay Air Station. And it's right outside of Wiesbaden, the city of Wiesbaden. And that was a garrison in which Elvis Presley was stationed. They got pictures of him doing all kinds of stuff with the commander of the post. They showed Priscilla Presley. That's supposedly where he met Priscilla Presley and her family and all the rest of that. But what do you think they would have showed Muhammad Ali? They would have showed Muhammad Ali out in the field, in the trenches, doing all kinds of stuff. And if his life would have got, as a matter of fact, they may not even show pictures of him. They wouldn't even use that to recruit people into the service. They say, yeah, we just showed that black person his place, and we need to put him in his place. And that what happened during the draft with Muhammad Ali wasn't nothing about showing who he was or nothing like that. It was about showing what he represented. A black people, a people of pride, people of resilience that they don't care what you put in front of them. And they didn't recognize him for his greatness till after he was almost at his end. I'm just gonna start putting these things on the what you call it, on the stage, because I'll forget them. But when they have control over your life, when they can take your privilege away, when they can take what you're doing away, when they can send you away from your family for war, it's something that's got to be said about that. And you got to realize that as much as you hear us talking about voting on this station, you say, "Oh man, that don't make no sense." Other people talking about, I guess, how to make your house smell better, or how to clean your windows, or how they book. They're gonna tie you back to their book and buy this and buy that. Why don't they just tie you back to life issues that's out there that we have lived, that we're gonna experience once again? See, because it's not about me. When I get on this air, it's not about me. I think about my own kids. I think about my granddaughter, and she did something. And I want to add this to the stage so you can see what I'm talking about. Because most people, and I'm losing my voice, but I'm gonna still get this out here because it's important that we think. We do more thinking and that we pay more attention to what's going around, because even though they're talking about all these wars and stuff that's going around, you know who's going to make that sacrifice in the end? In the end, and if they're already in the military, who's going to make that sacrifice is one of yours, not one of theirs. One of yours is going to have to make that sacrifices. And you're going to know that person that you're sending off to war. You're going to know that person, whether they volunteered or they was drafted. Because when they stop feeling that soldiers are enlisting because they don't want to go to war, they force you into it. And see, I want to start with one of my own, because most people get on this thing, and you see that young lady right there? She volunteered to go into the Army. That's my granddaughter. That's my granddaughter. That's her coming out of basic training. And she don't even know I'm using this picture today. She would be embarrassed. But sometimes you have to make these stories about what was going on at that particular point in time. And I'll tell you, you're so right. Front line. That's where my granddaughter would be. Front line. Maybe not in the back with all of these other people that I'm going to show you, kids. Maybe not in the back. Byron Glass has kids. Pastor Riggins has kids. Our kids ain't going to get the same privilege. They may get one distinct privilege, and that doesn't save them. Some kids may have went to college, and maybe they don't go to the war as a low-level private or something like that. But I can guarantee you they're sending those black officers right up to the front line. If you don't believe me, ask people like Colin Powell. Admiral Lloyd Benson, I think his name is Lloyd Benson. I just asked him where was they at. Now I want to name one more distinguished gentleman that I always have respect for. The general that was in New Orleans, that they sent out to go get everything in order, because there was so much going on that wasn't wrong. They had to call him back into some form of civil service because of his actions as a general to bring that stuff back in order in New Orleans when it happened. You still see him out there in social media making his impression. You still see him out there. But some of those people were drafted into the service. Some of those people, the people that was drafted into the service. You see something going on right today, and I'm trying to tie all this back to the draft. You see something going on right today. You see these young men going out there dapping people. They get in basketball games. They're going through the motions of what they call, they got a new name for it. They jumping up and down, they swinging their heads, they throwing their hands up in the air. They greeting each other and think that that's new. It's not new. As a matter of fact, it was one of the things that almost got soldiers court-martial or kicked out of the service in Vietnam because they recognized that it gave them an opportunity to have pride among themselves. The same things that you see these players come out to, and they dipping and dapping, and they dipping and dapping means they're using hand signals. They patting the back of their hands, and they doing all this stuff, throwing their shoulder and all of that, and you think that's unique. It's not unique. It started in Vietnam. It started in Vietnam. Let me share something with you because I need to put this in perspective. I got a whole show lined up, but I don't even need it. You know why? Because I can relate to this. Thank you. Yes, you're right. But let me tell you about that young lady. She had a grandfather, a great grandfather, and a great great grandfather that was in the service. They didn't take the path of being volunteered into the service. They took the path of being drafted into the service. My father, and I'm gonna brag on my father, and I'm gonna bring this in so people can relate because a lot of people get on this social media and they don't know what they don't know how to relate it back to themselves. They want to tell you what you could do and what you should be doing and all the rest of this. My father went into service as a private. He went to Vietnam and he served. He went from the bottom to the top of the enlisted ranks. Sergeant Major. And some people see that as an easy feat. It wasn't. When he went in there, he wasn't, most of the people that he looked up to at that time, they didn't even have the same color he did. But he went through it. But sometimes people just say this, because I want to, it's all about the draft. It's all about what's coming up. Yeah, I'm gonna bring this to the stage. I don't want to forget it. I want to bring it up, but I'm gonna get back to that too, because that's also important in what we're saying this morning. Sometimes people don't even see the sacrifices that a person made for them to get where they're at right today. Sometimes people don't see you. I'm gonna paint this picture. You see a Michael Jordan, you see a Scottie Pippen, and you see a Magic Johnson, and you see many different athletes out there that made it into a sport, or you see football players like O.J. Simpson and all the rest of them. Their parents made it, black parents made it to where they was. But you know what you don't see? You don't see those kids coming behind the road that those high roads that their parents set for them to follow. You don't see that. Because almost every move of every child, unless they give up, is going to try to be to achieve the things that they seen their mom and pops do. That's for you East Coast people. I know that because when I served in the service, I seen it many of the times where they said, my mom, my pop. So I'm forming this. I'm trying to go here with this thought because I need you to understand that in every conflict, it doesn't matter how small or how big, if it escalates to a certain point and you don't pay attention and you continue to vote people in office who want to just keep this thing going because it benefits them. Their kids ain't going out. Their kids ain't going down that path. And their kids gonna take a whole different path than what your kids are. Because when they get there, by name recognition alone, they may not be at the front line. And we have a history, and I'm tying this back to something, because I told you I don't need to, I can put my whole show on hold and tell you the whole thing right now. People like Muhammad Ali, Jasmine Crockett, if they went into the service, they're gonna put them up at the front. If during draft time, they will put them at the front. They don't have to disarm them back here in America with their voice. They can disarm them by putting them in the service and sending them off to die. That's no different than taking a gun, putting it up to their head and say, "We got you." And that's what they would do with your kids. They can quiet you by sending them off to war. And when that kid comes back, that kid don't have a voice. And the only thing that kid is going to represent to you, the only way that they're going to represent that kid back to you is to give you a flag and some sad song and tell you to go home. It's going to be all right. He paid the ultimate sacrifice for his country. But you know what they're going to do with their kids? They're going to go home and they're going to see that kid prosper. You're going to see that kid have other kids. They're going to continue to go down that path until the conflict or war is over that they want to send your kids to. Oh, yeah, you say, oh, no, it's not. We don't have to worry about the draft. We don't. Don't worry about it till it's too late. And then you want to come back and say, oh, no, I ain't sending my kids there. Well, they got consequences for that, too. You ain't going. Your kids going because they chose not to. This should be all involved in your vote, your thought process from the time that you get a child and you looking at them. You know, I sent out a text this morning. And Pastor Riggins, I sent out to Pastor Riggins, Byron Glass, and a couple of my family members, and I started doing that text because in life, it's very few positive words that you get in society. But I want to share this with you. And people say I jump around a lot, but I jump around because you have to be able to do that. When you turn on your channel, if you don't like what they're saying, you switch to another one, right? Am I right or wrong? If they're not delivering the message that sinks between your two ears, from one side to the other one, that space that's in between, if it's not being delivered, you switch to another channel. So I want you to switch to this morning because it's all related, and I'm going to tell you how it's related. You know, when you see those funerals and they put them on YouTube and they start off with this beautiful song. I mean, beautiful. You only see them at certain times, but they sing it in the right key. They march down that aisle in the right step. They pause at the right moment just to draw you into it. Not that the funeral that you at, that you already suffering enough because that person's up there. But they're going to make you come into their arena. In their hands. They got this thing in their hands that they're holding full of jewelry, costume jewelry and everything. And they putting it up on the left. They putting it up on the right. And they hold it up above their head like it means something. But you know, let me tell you something. And let me tell you how perfect God is. God put a crown on your head, because if you think about it when I say this, from the crown of your head to the bottom of your feet, you were perfect when you came into this world. And they do all that man stuff to bring you into that particular moment. Then they get up there and they do whatever they're going to do over your dead body. Because God's already got the special part out of that. He's already got you out of that situation. And when he gets you out of that situation, they go up there and they try to fit this man-made crown on you that never fits because it wasn't made to be there in the first place. God gave you a crown that covered your whole body. Whatever they put on it has a hole in it. Has a hole in it, and they're trying to fit it into a square peg. A round circle into a square peg that will never fit, because people don't receive their rewards here on earth. They receive their rewards somewhere else. So if you ever in a situation where you're doing that, remember that person's reward is already gone with them. That person was born with their reward. The day one, day one. That's what our God has done for us. He gave us a crown to wear. We just don't see it on earth. I'm done. I'm done. I just had to add that back in there. But I want to read this comment. MLK had to fight to get uneven treatment of African Americans being put on the front lines. They were 11 to 13%. But we being put on the front at 20 to 25%. Who would check that now? And what rate do you think we will go to the front lines right now? Based on the current administration that's in office right now. At what rate do you think we will go to the front lines? You know what? You making my points all the way through. You must have seen this, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this loud and clear. When my husband passed away, they had a 6-gun salute. They handed me a flag and took me to the back in the 1960s and 70s. You're not getting anything more if they decide to draft your young men in the war. And I know the sacrifices. I know how you felt, and you probably still feel this way today. What did he sacrifice his life for? Because they put him up. He was set up from day one when he went in. And they do that so much with our people. Not people that, and I'm gonna show you in just a minute. And I'm gonna show you something that most people they don't include in their pictures. I just showed you my granddaughter. I got grandkids that I could show you, but I'm not going to even go there, because I need you to look at these images that I'm bringing to the stage. Just look at them. I'm going to bring it up to the stage. I want to bring it because I need that. Melanie Salisbury has 2 sons. They went to the John Pettis Bridge. I brought this up the other day. They don't look like the people that's going to go to the front line, do they? They don't look like the people that's going to the front line. Then when they bring them back, they're going to give you the same expression that this wife had. They're going to give you a gun salute. They're going to give you a flag, and that's going to be it. They're going to walk away from that moment. I'm going to continue bringing these images to the stage because I need you to see it. I need you to see it and identify with it. And I brought her up for a reason, because there was somebody that sacrificed before them. This image right here. This was in France. And you always hear me talk about service. Service. I see you. You always hear me talking about service. You see that guy that's almost down to the end? Farthest to your, I guess, farthest to your left, second one from the end. The guy should look familiar, because that was me in the color guard, where the most soldiers are buried outside of the United States. It's probably bigger than Arlington on how many people lost their lives outside of the country, but we wasn't set up to fly those bodies back. Not everybody made it back to this country. Some people, and this is the part that they don't tell you about, some people are still flying over there to see where their family members are buried right today for the first time. They're occupying space outside of the United States that's got bodies buried for miles in other countries. And they bring this back. And I need to have you hold this memory, because this memory is a part of the draft that they don't tell you about. When they get in these conflicts and they get involved in these things, they don't tell you about something. They don't add the whole story. They don't put it in front of your face. 40% or more. And I think that's low. 40% or more will be participating in the draft if they ever brought it back. And these conflicts, every last one of them is telling you that that they have an opportunity to bring it back. Not only make you register to you think you registered to vote, and they made a big issue of it when it first came out that you had to draft, you had to register for the draft when you first came out of school. They ain't gonna play. It'll be worse than ICE. It'll be worse than ICE because you're gonna sit there and say what you're not gonna do, and they're gonna get you right in front of your family. And if they don't send you to war, what they're gonna do is put you in prison and lock you down. And what's the difference? You need to ask yourself some questions when these conflicts are going on. You need to ask yourself when these conflicts are going around the world, where this could escalate to. Because you even heard your secretary, your Secretary of Defense of War, he mentioned it. He ain't mentioned it because it was best for you. He mentioned it because that was one of the options that they have. And when they put that option out there, don't think it's, I'm gonna start doing it. I gotta put it in perspective so you can understand. Because if you don't understand it here, you're gonna understand it later, and it's one of yours. Excuse me. But it's important that you understand it now. See those kids? They're not going. They're not going, and they're the same color that you are. I don't care how much you love that family picture. I don't care how hard you look at it. They're not going. They're not going. And I only use this as an example because I want to show you something, because I like to be fair in the process in which I bring these images up. Let me show you something else. I'm gonna put it on stage so I can remember to get back to it. Let me show you something else. Let me show you something else, because I want to be fair about this. Those kids right there are not going to war in a time of conflict. They may be too old now, but even if they was within the age of your kids right now, they're not going to war. They are not going to war. But their father and that guy to the far right made decisions on whether or not your kids went to war. And that father on the right, on the left, in the center of that picture, made decisions on the people that was drafted into war. I'm just saying, you have to look at the world as a whole and know that you live in this the world that you live in. I'm not going to just use that example of families, because if I don't paint this picture right, you'll think that no, this is, and I lost my image on there, but I'm gonna bring it back up. If I don't paint this picture right, you'll swear that this world is a whole different place. But all of this relates back to something. You might not ever seen this picture on the air or on social media. But do you know that man is a representative that represents you? That man is a representative that represents you, that is the head of the Democratic Party in the House. That's his family. His family ain't gonna go get drafted like your family will. They might do everything right. Excuse me. But they ain't gonna get drafted like your family will into the service. And I'm throwing these images out there, and it's nothing against those parents or anything like that. I'm just telling you, it's a difference. And if we don't open up our eyes, and if we don't change the way we look at society as a whole, if we don't realize that our vote makes a difference, don't ever let nobody tell you that your vote doesn't have a voice. Every vote has a voice, because you electing representatives that's supposed to feel like you are. I guarantee you, he don't feel like his kids are going to accept the same obstacles in life that your kids will suffer. I'm gonna keep on going. And let me just say this. I like. I don't want to get too far. I have to put the comments on the stage as they come up. Trump wanted us to believe it was Australia, that he wanted them to shut down the black section of the military cemetery. And see, that's something that I learned on the air just now. You can't have your hands in anything, everything. But let me tell you something. In all those wars that you hear fought in Europe against Hitler and many other countries that we got involved in, it's black soldiers laying out there on the ground in those countries that made the ultimate sacrifice. Their families have probably got a flag in the mail. They just didn't get the opportunity to have somebody shoot a 21-gun salute because there was so many mass casualties that they probably did it at one time. They got so many bodies stacked up and built up that they did that ceremony at one time outside of the U.S. Some people say oh man, that ain't important. That was way before my time. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. This Iran conflict that's going on right now, it's not beyond your time, and it's not over with. The war ain't been won. The conflict is still going on, and they going backwards in how they fighting it. And if you don't think that if it escalates in that area, that it's a possibility that they won't need you at 17 and 18 right now, and you so gun-ho about running off to serve your country, trust me, there'll come a time that you'll say, you know what? I wish I would have listened to this person. It ain't, and let me clear this up before they put this rumor out there. I didn't serve my country. I know what it's about. My daddy was drafted. My grandfather was drafted. Many members of my family was drafted into the service. So it ain't about being anti-American. What I'm trying to get to them, trying to get people to understand, it's about voting. It's about voting in the midterms. This is just one of the categories in which you could drive home that point without tearing down everybody else around you. See, y'all have this thing that y'all caught up in, and I'm jumping somewhere else because I need to jump here. Y'all have this thing that's caught up that you allow your messaging to send you somewhere totally different. When you got everything that you need right here in front of you, that you can express yourself and your thought pattern. Even if you take this from a little old podcaster like myself, don't have the audience that you do, but you can drive home the point to the masses that you do have sitting in front of you. So if you're one of those production people that's out there in front of your guy, that's got this big audience in front of your lady, that's got this big audience that's carrying a media stream that's bigger than anything that's out there, use this message. You can formulate it in your own idea, your own thought process, but get it to the people that say that I am the messenger for the black people. I am the messenger for people that of color. Get it to them. I don't need the credit. Because the message is strong enough to carry an everyday message that's sending that can go out to normal people right now. The message is strong enough for you to stop. I like going here because I can relate to this. This morning, a message was sent. I saw a message where one of the people, and one of the people, let me do this because I don't like ignoring comments. Trump wanted. I got that one out. Now I want to get this. Did I say it wrong? I'm not worried about it. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It still came across the right way. It's people that get caught up in those little bitty issues that don't get their own. They're more concerned about their own message going out than they are the message that they're putting out. See, I don't get caught up in those little bit small issues because you may get one word or something out of place because you're excited about and you got a limited amount of time to get your message across. So if you're one of those people that get caught up in somebody that made a message and the only thing that you can critique them on is the point that they made in the comments, but the message was solid. There's something wrong with you. It's not something wrong with that person. Because you're critiquing something that you shouldn't be critiquing. And that's the reason why I say this. If you got somebody that's in social media that's out there that's got a bigger platform than you do, it's issues like this that could drive the point home about voting. Not about tearing somebody down because they didn't get the format or the formulas or whatever wrong. Correct them. I ain't saying let the message stand if it's wrong. I'm saying correct them. But hold them accountable by telling them that I'm correcting something that you said. I'm not trying to put you down. I want you to continue your crusade. I want you to continue, your message. And I know I got this, I know I got this code. And if that's holding you back from the message that I'm delivering this morning, if that's holding you back from the message that I'm delivering you this morning, maybe you should go somewhere else. I'm not afraid to tell you. We've been at this for a long time. And see, I'm going to tell you about us. In the background, you hear my telephone going off. But see, that's somebody that I know that knows what I'm talking about. Because he's been out here doing it a while. You hear me and Byron Glass talk about this all the time. And that's him in the background telling me, Ron, I'm watching you right now. Ron, I'm listening to you right now. That's the kind of encouragement that you need in your life when you're doing something that's right. You don't listen to the masses. You see, the masses will come and they'll critique everything that you got because they got that kind of time. But see, your friends and the people that believe, that know who you are, that seen the sacrifices that you made, they come to you in a different way. They encourage. They support you. They tell you stuff in the background that maybe you're not aware of. They tell you when you're getting too loud or something, that because you believe in the issue, hey, settle it down, because you might lose a little bit of the audience out there because they're not used to a person putting their feelings into it without hurting somebody at the same time. See, that's the kind of people that Pastor Rings and Byron Glass are. They are. You know, we got to continue doing what we're doing. We got to continue saying what we're saying on these small media platforms, even if the big ones are not saying, group together. And I hear people all the time. It's later, I'm going to get a name right because I'm going to start calling out some of these platforms that's making sense. That's not as, I'm sorry, and please bear with me. That's not as big as my platform. But they make sense. They tie back to everyday people. Some of the platforms and media platforms that you listen to can't tie back, or they came from where you at, and then they got so high on the totem pole, so to speak, that they can't relate back. They don't realize how they got there. What gave them that fight to get exactly where you are? No, your code makes no difference. It makes it better because you feel it was that important to get the message out. Every single time I get on this airways, and my daughter's out there, she started listening to me last night. And you know who the first person I seen on the airways who was telling me she was listening to my message now? It's my daughter. My son listens to me. I want all of my other daughter listens to me. I want all of my kids to listen to their father right now because I'm trying to help people, but I'm mostly trying to help people like my kids that I identify with, that blood of my blood. I'm trying to help them get better. But if I help them get better, I'm helping your kids that I don't even know get better. Because while they hooping and hollering, doing all the rest of that stuff in this world, they need to realize that the world is continuing to move and it's going to eventually catch them. Don't let them catch it. Don't let it catch you at a loss because you didn't vote. Because you didn't vote, because you didn't think it was important, because somebody told you, well, your vote ain't going to matter anyway. Those very same people that's telling you that, when it comes time to do stuff that the world has put in front of them, they're going to be the ones that's sitting behind bars talking about, you know what? I wish I would have listened. I wish I would have been advising my friends at the same time. It's okay. I'm not saying that we ain't all been young at one time or another in life. Hell, some of us never grew up. But we have to, at some point, you have to get it within your own mind that you make a difference in this world. And don't ever let anybody guide you in the wrong direction. Your father or mother may seem like they distance away from you. I know people that's got families. I don't know if any of their kids went in the family, but both husband and wife was in the military. At any point in time during their life, they could have lost mama and daddy because of something that's going on halfway around the world. That's a sacrifice. But see, those kids never see their parents like that. They look at them now and they see them, and maybe they're in a better position. Maybe that money that they done retired on, maybe that disability and all the rest of that stuff has started to kick in now. And they just don't look at the sacrifices that their parents made to get them where they're at. If this doesn't tell you any more than this, not all people that went to the service made the ultimate sacrifice. Not all people went to the service came back in the same manner in which they left. Not all people came back in the same manner in which they left. It's people out there in wheelchairs today. It's people out there that went to war that was marching, yelling, screaming, doing cadence and everything else. They came back and they got people helping them every day. Every day. They need your help. They got wives. I'm going to break it down so you can understand. Because you see these images on TV, but I don't go with those images. I go with people that's out there, with what I see, what I know. Their wives. I didn't say their family. I said their wives. They had kids before they left. And as that person continues to live that life that they can't take care of themselves as they get older, and as that wife, if that wife passes on, here's the hard truth of life. The kids don't want that responsibility. So if you're still alive, they put you in those homes that take care of you. They don't even want your money. They don't even want the house. They know the responsibility of the sacrifice that you made when you went to war, because they seen what their mother struggled through to just take care of you as a child. So when people are getting drafted, or you hear something about a conflict, and you tell somebody about a vote, and they're not listening to you about voting, you need to break it down to them sometime. Break it down, because I'm out here telling you, and I told you I had a whole show scripted right in front of me before I got started. You know how many times I looked at that script since I've been talking to you? Not once. Not once. And the only reason why I cannot look at it and still explain my whole show to you about the draft and what it does to people, is because I done lived it. I done lived it. See, I need to drive it home, because most people don't understand this. I'm not as bad as those people that came back from war. with all those illnesses and everything, with the stuff that they have a tube down their throat, with their head being, I don't even know how to describe it, but they don't look like the same people that took that picture when they was a private in the military, where you could identify who that soldier was. Legs and limbs missing, eyesight gone, the ability not to speak, the hearing gone, hands and feet, because they did that motion repetitively so many years that they can't stand on their feet. If you don't believe me, go to one of these VA hospitals. Don't go there looking for something. Just say, I'm sorry about that cough, but I need to get this point out. If you don't believe me, go to some of these not VA cemeteries, but go to some of these VA hospitals. There's still guys around from those wars. They're still suffering from their service that they went through. Just like I'm coughing on the air right now. I'm pushing through this because this is important. There's still people out there. And every time that I talk about this, I forget about one person. And it ain't about illness, it ain't about nothing. And I want to tie this home because it's gonna take you someplace. We had a major, and we put her on the air. She was trying to get somebody to help her build something in New Orleans. I'm gonna get your message on the air because I'm gonna close out with that. She was trying to get her message to build something in New Orleans. Both her and her husband was in the service. They were officers. They had bought this building. They was fortunate enough to buy this building. And I'm gonna tell you where it was. It was in New Orleans. It was a building under any other circumstances they shouldn't have had access to. But because of the sacrifices that they made throughout their whole life, and they went through that process, they got access to it. And now, every time that you go to New Orleans, I want you to think about this story. They put their hard-earned, invested money into this building. They wanted to make something that blacks own down in New Orleans. And let me tie this back so you can understand. See, yeah, I'm going here. See, you go through life and you see stuff with blacks' names on the front of buildings, and you see these buildings that people got good established black businesses in. And somehow you tie that to ownership. That's not ownership. In many of the predominantly black cities that we call black today, that we call black Mecca centers, it's one thing about them. They may own the service. They may present a business within that building, but they don't own the land in the building that their property is sitting in or within. That's going to sink into somebody one of these times. But here's a person that had that opportunity to own the building, the land, and whatever service that they put into it. Military. And you know the city council within that city would never let them get it. They brought out all kind of lies. They attacked them. They did whatever they could not to get them into that building. But you know, and I'm going to tie this back because it's one thing about God. He works. He works. He works. I don't care how you say it. He works. And I'm going to tell you what he did for these people. They may not have got that building. But you know what they got? They saved soldiers that were coming back from war. Soldiers that had already sacrifices, that was being mistreated. Both of them dove into it head first. And they're working at it right today to make sure those soldiers get what they deserve. They made the ultimate sacrifice to go to war, but they fight Both of them fight every single day out of New Orleans. Look up the Rileys. Go look up the Rileys and see what they went through. But God put them in a position that could help more people that needed their help. But the world took away their dreams, not God. He knew what he was going to do with them. And I say that to say this. Not everybody that goes to war comes back injured. But the stuff that you have to face, even if you go to war or you come back from serving your country, the stuff that's piled on top of that, depending on what your skin color is. Let me get back to this. I remember when they came back wounded, minds messed up, junkies from the drugs they took to ease their pain from the wounds. They left as men. They came back as half men. That was sad. Glass tells a story about a person in where he in the parish where he was. So the guy was smart. He did everything right. He could have been anything that he wanted to be. He could have invented anything that he wanted to be. But he was drafted into the service. See, not everybody can accept war the same way. Not everybody can see a dead body there and continue to walk right past it like it ain't nothing. Not everybody can see a mangled body parts and walk right past it. Not everybody can see a burnt victim screaming in pain and walk right past them. Not everybody can mentally see a body that people haven't been able to get to that has this distinct odor. And you're going to always smell it in your mind because they piled up. They haven't got a chance to get to them. See, that's what soldiers see. This is not the front line. This is the back line. Those soldiers on the front line have to come back to the back line too before they can get shipped home or wherever their body is going to. You look at them body bags and they look all straight and pretty and they look like everything's all right. But do you know it's soldiers on the front line after the war, during the war, or sometime when they go out there and they get them bodies together, they have to find arms, legs, body parts, and match them back up and put them in those body bags before they ship back to the States. So while we out here doing our thing, while other people's kids are out here, and we look at them and we say, you know what? It's okay. Don't get involved in that. We ain't gonna have to get involved in that. Our kids ain't gonna get involved in that. I'll show you one more image. Not this one. I'm gonna bring it up to the stage because I need you to see. During this Iran conflict and the things going on in the Middle East, you would think, and I'm going to say this loud and clear so most of y'all can understand it. You would think sometimes people understand it a little bit better than others. You would think that sometimes if I'm the number 2 person in this country, I would express a different thought. You would think because I'm so close to this matter that I should be the one explaining to you where the conflicts are. I ain't gonna go into any details, but sometimes a picture says 1,000 words. And this is just one of those times that a picture could tell you a little bit more. I see that you have to go. I thank you for listening in. Thank you. I hope that I showed you a point in which I was making. And I didn't want to drag it on this far, but I haven't even looked at my show script yet. Thank you for participating. Thank you. Thank you. And the only thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go here because I'm going to get out of here. I want to go here. I'm going to get my comments off the stage. Let me see how can I do this because we had so many. Get this right here. I want to make sure that you see the whole screen. People made sacrifices to get where we at. We shouldn't have to sacrifice everything. We shouldn't have to sacrifice our kids based on what's out there. If we could just get out there and vote. If we could just get out there and vote. If we could encourage, if each one of us, just one, and we say this all the time on this airwaves, if we can encourage just one, or if we can get people to listen to us, one person to invite somebody else to listen on. I ain't say you had to go out there and subscribe. I ain't say you had to go out there and build my numbers. Because I'm going to tell you this. I'm not going to go back and edit this thing. I'm not going to go back and cover something that I said. I don't have a big team behind me. I got supporters. I got my family. I got people like Byron Glass and Pastor A.F. Riggins. And that might not be enough for some of y'all because you want the fame and everything that goes with it. But if you already got that, why not make sense and help somebody else participate or understand? Why not save somebody's child by telling them how important it is to vote? You're not just voting for the issues that you see. You're not voting for the issues that's in the White House right now. Your vote is changing things for people that you don't even know. Because if we don't put a stopgap in place right now for this man that's in office, these things could happen. And you could use this example in your production, how smart you are, I don't care. I'm not trying to get the credit for being the first to point this out. I'm trying to get the credit for having you research it and having you put it in front of guys that make a difference. Because you don't get your news no different than what I do. I might be a little bit older than you, but what you do is you go out there and search social media and you look for the stories that you think is relevant. Y'all sit down in the room and y'all compare notes, and whoever that person is at the highest point, he makes a decision on which way he wants to go. And then each one, he or she, then each one of y'all come back and build the story from there and put it out to the American public. But as you building that story, please consider the lives that you change. Please consider the reason why you're telling them to get out and vote. It ain't because of that man that's in office. It's because we need to change the nation as a whole. We got failures on our side too. They do too. Everybody. But we want to take our failures and put them behind us. And now that we done got these media platforms where we afford the opportunity to get people to do our research and make our platforms bigger, we forget where we came from. But I want you to put this in the back of your mind at all times. No matter how big you are, no matter how much stuff you went through or how much money you got in your bank account, it's a possibility that your kids could face the draft too. Your kids could face the draft too. And here you going to spend money to get them out of it. Because at that point, they're only a number just like my child or my grandchild. They're just a number. They're just a number. So you can do that. But some people's kids never become a number. Anyway, I want to say thank God, thank God, thank God. I made it through this podcast, and I made it through. You don't know how much I'm struggling, because every time I was doing this, I was sweating. That was me coughing. I'm sorry. The message was bigger. The message was bigger than my cough or my cold. Sometimes we have to do stuff like that. So when you get in these audiences, it's one more thing that I need to put out before I get off of here, because it's not about me. I'm gonna show you how much it's not about me. And I just saw this before I went on the air. Well, two things. I'm gonna get out of here. Two things. And I'm bringing somebody up to the picture because you heard me talking about this. You heard me talking about this. And I found it today, and I want to bring it up. That's one of our loyal listeners, Miss J.K. Glover. That's how she got married, her and her husband. I think I had Danny's pictures up too, because I went in and I saw it. I was looking for something else, and I saw it, and I want to make sure I bring it up. And I'm bringing up her husband to the stage because he just had a birthday. That's Danny Glover. He's one of our loyal listeners that's out there. If I don't get the program out in time, he's texting me in the background at all times saying, Ron, I need it, Ron, I need it. We don't ask you to subscribe because we know that you have regular lives. We're not asking for any of your money. We're just trying to put the message out there. And I just had to mess with them because they're good, loyal people. And I'm gonna tell you, happy birthday, Danny. If nobody never, I know plenty of people told you on social media, but I'm telling you on the show, happy birthday, Danny. So as y'all go out there, there's one more thing that I promise I want to add, and then I guarantee you I'm out of here. If I can find it before I get off, I'm going to put it out here because I need y'all to see something. I need y'all to see something. Here it is. I got it. I'm going to bring it out here. You see this guy right here? His name is Ronnie from the Real Deal Trail Ride. He don't even know I'm doing this. But that's what you do when you believe in a cause. That's what you do when you give a person an opportunity. When you get somewhere, bring somebody along with you. Don't just use your platform to build yourself up. Bring somebody along with you. See, I remember when we did Trail Ride Talking Radio, and we did it. Ronnie was on there. People from all over Texas was on there. People from Mississippi was on there. It went as far as Georgia to have people involved to Trail Ride Talk Radio. But that's what you do to make a better place than what you left. And they talked about this man all over the trail rides. Adult people like myself say that he was tearing down the community. He stood on firm grounds. And he grew into the position where he's at right now. But if you don't allow for growth from where they're at, he would never be the person that he is right now. Baldina. I love me some Baldina. I love hearing him out there. I love his music. Baldina, I've seen him. He knows who I am. And it all came from the trail ride. One day, try to do one of these trail ride talk. See, it's about teaching your people. It's about teaching your people. You can talk to them. Let me take that pause because I need to make sure that this comes out. You can talk to your people till you're blue in the face. You can see them show up on these trail rides and you can talk about that nag, that bony horse, that whatever they got and call them out of their names and saying on social media, don't bring them here. You should be embarrassed of that thing. What if that's the only thing that they know, but they want to enjoy the things that you're doing, but the only way that they know how to do it? And they don't know the correct way in which to get their horses to the level in which yours are. See, they might be Nakers Homes and the only thing they got is a bucket and a shed that they built in their backyard with a rope with a stake in their backyard with a bucket of water that they're changing out. They get off of work and they're going straight to that place that they got that horse at. They putting everything that they got into that horse. But instead of you showing them how to make their work better, because they want to be like you talking about them. What Ronnie did here, he's showing them how to go about making it better. They're going to have a discussion where they're going to laugh and have fun and all the rest of that. But I know Devon is going to be involved in that somehow too. And trust me, his horsemanship and his skills and what he knows about horses. And I hope they invite other people on like the Rail Gardner. Oh, I'm losing y'all here. I hope they invite people on that can help them, that can help show you what it's about. See, this thing could grow bigger than anything that's around the nation right now. It has that ability. But give them a chance to grow. Give them a chance to do what they're going to do. And that's the reason why I'm putting this on toward the end. It's not about advertisement. It's about seeing what we could do from a small platform where we have people that's involved in the discussion and grow from there. It's about people like Gus Trent that comes out of Florida, volunteering for black rodeos all across the nation. But he has a farm down in Florida where people know him. He wasn't no cowboy. Probably never had any intentions of riding a horse in his life. But he adopted it based on what he's seen out there. And he follows that discipline today. He follows that discipline today. And that still, and you say, how does this tie back to anything that we're doing? Because if you see a child out there trying to do something, you need to put them up under your wings. They used to do that when we were young people. Ronnie didn't just get out there like he is right now. Ronnie grew up south of Houston in Brazoria County. Somebody showed him the ropes. He saw something that somebody else was doing, and he wanted to take it to where people could relate to it. Not all people understood it. Anthony Bruno, another person, grew up in this environment. I didn't know. The only thing that you could tell me about that happened about rodeo, when I grew up in Houston, it happened once a month during the year. And it might have been a week long at that time. But now that show has turned into probably one of the biggest attractions to bring people to Houston. And now we're here and people are traveling from everywhere, or people that want to come here to experience the rodeo. Even in the environments around the United States, you never realize what you have until it's gone. When it's a bunch of blacks gathering together, and they may be in the field, in the woods, or something like that, and you young people come out, and y'all don't know the history behind what they're doing, you're there for the music, and you're more worried about somebody stepping on your boots. You're more worried about somebody bumping up against you because you got on your nice outfit. You're more worried about things that don't matter. It shouldn't make a difference. Because people fed their family from that environment. They made sacrifices to go far beyond where you at. They made the ultimate sacrifice in that type of life, a Western lifestyle. But you don't see that. So you want to ruin it. I'm getting off of here. One day I'm going to go back into it. And I hope I can get Anthony Bruno on here so he can tell you a little bit of the history. Because everything that you see on TV ain't the truth about a Western lifestyle. So I'm going to say this, and I hope I didn't gross out too many people in my storytelling or trying to put this show on the air. Those very same kids that's out there, Zydeco dancing, and Zydeco been around for a long time, got his own history that should be told. You need to know that there's a possibility that you could go to the draft. And when you come back, the last thing in the world that you could be drafted, that you could be thinking about is how to go Zydeco. I'm going to leave you with that, and I'm going to say thank God for giving me the inspiration to continue doing this. I'm gonna say thank God for continue to let my voice carry, even in sickness. I don't want your sympathy. I don't want none of that. I just need you to understand that messages like this ain't gonna go out. Byron Glass, Pastor Riggins, what we're saying, it ain't gonna be there always. Everybody loves good stories. Everybody loves to be on top. But sometimes you have to tell what's the truth wherever you're at. Wherever you're at. And if you're fortunate enough to grow to a point, and I'm going to say this to Ronnie, if you're fortunate to grow to a point and you're fortunate enough to have a discussion like you are, and I see where you're going with it, make it count. Make it count. Make it count. Make it for everybody. Not only the ones that's got clubs out there, but that person that's trying to get to where you're going. Now I'm drifting, y'all. I'm drifting because I need you to. This is more important than what Ronnie's doing. I want to say this, and if you're still out there, pass this on. As you go to these churches on Sundays, your place of instructions, your place where you go to take all this stuff that's going on in the world away from you. Remember this. Bring your children with you because they're going to need the same thing. But if your children are not there participating in it, it's going to die off. The only way we continue to make stuff grow is we have to make our kids get involved in what we're doing and show them that what we ask of them is the future. Because they can't miss what they never had. I'm gone. Y'all take care. I've been on here long enough. I'm drifting. I got to go. Y'all enjoy. I hope you enjoyed the show. Sorry for the coughing. I'm sorry for losing my voice or whatever. And if I lost it at any time, please just forgive me. Don't hold it. It's not a reflection of Byron Glass, Pastor A.F. Riggins, or anybody else that comes on here to support us. It's me. Because I feel that message was that strong enough to get out. Y'all take care. Goodbye.